Now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story, real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning. Welcome to the Financial Fitness Podcast. And I'm glad you're here. So, sorry about the hat. Ed Gein got a hold of me about a week ago. Left some scars on my head, but I made it out. So hair's growing back. But thought I'd wear the hat. I had a hat that had some funny sayings on it, but it would have gotten the chat room all upset. Plus, one said, Larry Smith isn't real. He's from another planet. All on one hat. But good morning. So, a lot of things going on. And today we're going to focus on foundational basics. And the reason why I'm doing this is yesterday I had an interview with 740 KTRH. And it was just all about this conundrum of the economy, right? You have GDP looks strong. Full employment, per se, based on the definition of full employment. And yet consumer sentiment for September is down 5 points. If you look at real disposable personal income per capita, it's at the lowest levels preceding 6 of the last 10 recessions. So on the surface, it looks really great, but people are not feeling good about the economy. Probably the housing market. Listen, it's a soup of things, right? It's, inflation at the stores, still there, okay? Which, Lance, we've all talked about ad nauseum, that it takes a lot for existing prices to go down. Rate of change, if you look at inflation expectations, are relatively benign, 2.5% or so, above the Fed's target, but definitely within line. So when you look at spending behaviors, you see it's like the top 10% of households are spending or making up about 50% of the consumption today. And when I first came into this business, one of the first things I was told that, listen, when baby boomers retire, the stock market's going to collapse. It's over. Because all these baby boomers, what they were going to do is shift. It was called the major shift, or there was all kinds of terms for it. And you all would sit there and tremble as being, new in the business. Like, oh my gosh, like this Armageddon is coming. The Armageddon. Because all these baby boomers are going to retire at once and stocks are going to collapse. But what we have found as people live longer and live healthier, and stock market wealth and housing wealth, heck, the old baby boomers are out there spending money. You're carrying the economy. So when I talk to clients and they said, oh yeah, I just got back from this cruise, or I was like, keep doing it. It's just a financial advisor that tells you, go out there and spend money because they've planned so well for it. And many people underspend in the economy. So this is a long-winded way of saying, listen, there's a hierarchy of savings. So if you're in one of these households, the 90% or 80% of households that are having challenges today, and this is what we talked about on 740 yesterday. Listen, you feel bad. Some people feel bad about things. And I said, you got to focus on your own household. You got to look at the things you can control. Did Ed Gein get a hold of Larry Smith on the chat? Because he's not there this morning.
So the rumor on the chat is Larry bought a yacht. And he's off the grid. That's the rumor.
Really?
So
I think he ate a can of beans and can't get out of the bathroom. That's my...
Well, that's colorful.
He bought a yacht. I think he bought a dinghy. That's what he bought. Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine? Gilligan's Island starring Larry Smith?
I can.
As the skipper? Skipper! I should have worn my skipper hat. I have one of those.
Gilligan's illegitimate brother. Sorry, Larry.
Or you make that reversion of Gilligan, and this is Gilligan's illegitimate son with the movie star on the island. I always had an idea about that. Mm-hmm. JP goes, we need Larry back. No, we don't. We absolutely don't. It's really dumb. So this is, since I have the cap, this is Dakin Park. It's just a real weird Dakin Park. We change it every few days. Next year it'll be McDonald's Park.
I think they have a naming rights auction over there.
Don't they? Like how many times?
Every couple of years.
Every couple of years.
Yeah.
So then I got to take the sign down, put the new sign up. You always thought the orange theme was fine, but this Dakin thing, I don't know. It doesn't roll off the tongue like you want it to.
Right.
So Lincoln Park would work if the band wants to take over.
Yeah, but the Astros would probably get sued.
So here's the thing. So for most of you listening to this, you're doing okay, right? You see some stuff going on around you, but in your household, right, you have great stock market year. Your real estate's pretty much moderated or going at least up by the rate of inflation. You managed it really well. Give you all credit for that. You do a great job. But for these individuals or households that I talked about with 740 yesterday that are younger households, they're listening. They have to prioritize what they do when it comes to income. And you have the U.S. tax system, obviously, provide incentives, encourages individuals to save. How can you look at, hey, I only have this amount of disposable or discretionary income, and I would like to save money. I understand. So, but I get hit with all these comments about do this first, do this last, divide it up here, do here, and it gets confusing. So give you sort of a standard hierarchy of savings. Okay. JP goes, what is the Dakin? I have no idea. I think it's when you squeeze it, it goes, mama, mama. Oh, no, that's, what's that, Labooty? No, what are those little dolls called? Laboche? What are those things, those ugly things?
I have
now?
no idea.
They're like the hottest thing now. Labubu.
We're out of that demo.
We're out of that demo.
Yeah.
Like they're like the new Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Dakin is the name of the ballpark here in Houston. Mm-hmm. And there's an air conditioning manufacturing company.
Yeah, keeping everything cool.
Named Dakin.
Yeah. Too bad. I'm glad they didn't name it Elmer.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Elmer. Elmer was heating and air. But yeah, that's right. They are the AC company overall. So, such a business. So the first thing we tell everyone, especially younger people starting out, is there are certain financial rules that are absolutely outdated and ridiculous. But there are some that hold up. And one of those things is, first of all, to pay yourself first, right? So when households are looking at, hey, listen, my job is steady, but wage growth isn't what I expected it to be. I'm still getting hit with inflation, so I've got priorities. And I get that. But one of those things that you have to put in place, and it doesn't matter to me what your dollar amount is, it's the exercise of putting money aside. And that's called pay yourself first. And that is one of the rules, one of the tenets that I've always believed in. I don't care what, so then people have this shame about pay yourself first, which is the first step of your hierarchy of savings is build your emergency fund, right? That's a great way to do it. So people we're ashamed, like, oh my gosh, I can only do $25. That's okay. That's okay. You start small. Everything starts small. Any major goal you have starts with grit. Grit are those steps that take you to the milestone, right? So you have to remember that. So setting up an emergency fund in a savings account. Now, for us, we have our own rule on this at RIA. We're looking at, the standard rule, and I'm sure most of you have heard it relentlessly, 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash. We believe in something called the financial vulnerability cushion, when it's 1 year worth of living expenses in cash. And part of that is the first 6 months, car breaks down, kids need things for school, whatever it might be. But I think that what you have to do is say to yourself, well, what if someone does lose a job? What if there is a major health issue? Right? So having this financial cushion is so important. So, because people get tempted when they first start their new job, they go, oh my gosh, my company's got a 401k. I've been told I have to save for retirement. I'm 25 years old. And that's fine. You're thinking about it, but it's a goal so far, far, far away. So what you want to try to do is, listen, the emergency fund, that's the foundation of everything you're going to do. If I have a little bit extra money, I'm going to look at step 2, and that's going to be capture free money, right? I want to look at my employer matching to 401k. I want to look at anything 401k, 403b. And again, we always expect with the children, we call it a tax waive. Well, I just created that. The tax waive is when I'm younger and I'm not making as much money, I can start Roth first, right? I want to build up. Remember, we always talk about diversification of accounts. I don't want all my money in pre-tax. So then in retirement, I can control my taxes. And if you think you're going to fall into the lowest tax bracket in retirement, but after you're doing all this good work, you're most likely not. That's a myth from the 90s that has stuck around. Sure, some people do, but most don't. And that's because of taxation on Social Security, mostly, and secondary to IRMA, or these charges that come in from modified adjusted gross income on your Medicare Part B and Part D premiums. So what we have to keep in mind is if I'm younger, I am going to look at Roth 401k. As my career matures, and again, I just may, listen, Rich, I spoke with a young couple the other day and we said, listen, we don't have much of a baby coming. Right. So you're going to build the vulnerability cushion. They're 9 months into the cushion, which is great. Now what we did is we started step 2. And we said, okay, listen, your company matches 3% or so on the dollar. So we're going to just do that in Roth. They're like, okay, I think we can handle that, right? So we're gently going forward into step 2, right? As they work. So as they're working and employed, and Peter on chat is right, Roths are awesome, but you have to have earned income. Right. If you want to do a Roth IRA, you have to have earned income. That's right. So this is a young couple starting out. They both have jobs. Right. We've seen the Rothification of America through all the iterations of the Secure Act. So we start with Roth. As their careers grow and they get into the highest tax brackets, maybe 10, 15 years from now, we are going to shift gears and move to tax deferred. And that's where we want to minimize our tax liability as best as possible, right? So this is meant to be a tax flow, fluid, but the only thing you really want to care about in this hierarchy is I'm not giving up free money. I will get the 3%, even if I have to reduce a little bit out of my emergency fund allocation. I don't want to give this up, and that's perfectly fine. There are also, say, for example, ESPPs, right? Employee stock purchase plans. Purchasing company stock at a discount, 5-15%. Not bad. If I could buy the stock at a discount and sell it for a profit, that's great. Or I can wait and then sell it. You also have to look at, do I want that kind of risk? But there are a lot of companies that, especially mid-sized companies, small mid-sized companies that offer employee stock purchase plans. It's almost a guaranteed profit because I'm purchasing at a discount. So how much of this overall allocation do I want to look at? Because in some ways, that too is free money. So that's what you have to remember is with that portion of it, then that's fine. We're also, so I can have my hands in all these steps in a gradient kind of way, right? Different levels, like with Brent and his board. I don't have one level. If I have $200 a month, I don't have to put it all into one level if I'm doing it smart. If I'm putting most of it into my financial vulnerability cushion and then meeting my match, that's great. The other thing, and this would make Danny happy, because this is what's just happening. We're seeing more and more companies offering high deductible plans. Health savings account contribution, right? The triple tax benefit, tax-free contributions, earnings, and distributions for qualified expenses, right? And if these contributions are made via payroll deductions, you avoid employment taxes, and that is another tax advantage from an HSA contribution that most people do not know. We have always believed that before you move out to other tax-advantaged accounts in this step, you want to max out that HSA contribution. And not only that, you don't want to use that as a checking or spending account. You want to try the best you can to leave that money there to grow tax-free for future healthcare costs. And that is what we call the retirement health 401k. Now I'm going to, I've been going on a little bit years, and you don't mean you're going to follow all these steps at once, right? I've grown in my career. Now I have my free money. I'm trying to maximize the HSA. Now I've got additional bucks. Can I look at increasing above my emergency? And now that I could take money away maybe a little bit from my emergency reserve, I can start really focusing on building up my tax-advantaged or tax-free savings through Roth or traditional IRA, right? So now I'm in the groove. I'm starting to get a cadence to my money, and I want to get to that next step. So I'm going to try to prioritize retirement and education accounts. I'm going to bolster my 401k. I'm going to put more into my Roth 401k. Or maybe I'm in the process of, I'm going to put some money into pre-tax because I'm sort of feeling some of the tax pressure. That could be it. Or we're thinking of children, right? And we're going to look at a 529 for education savings, which is tax-free growth, tax-free withdrawals for qualified expenses. So now, a lot of people are moving on to these other steps. If they are followed the rules and they're good savers, and their money script shows that they're money vigilant, they're going to move to step 5. Now, I might want to look at after-tax contributions to retirement accounts. Say I've maxed out. Listen, Rich, you wouldn't believe it. I maxed out my Roth 401k. That is great. Does your company allow for after-tax contributions to the plan for backdoor Roth contributions? So I can make these non-deductible contributions to the traditional IRA. I can convert those funds, because they're after-tax, into Roth. And there are more and more companies that are allowing that. And that's pretty positive. When along with, say, the mega backdoor Roth contributions, right? So this is, again, the employer 401k say, listen, you have after-tax contributions. I can roll that. So I'm going to max out my pre-tax or Roth contributions before making my after-tax contributions. Then I got to talk to my employer plan. I got to talk to my benefits and say, hey, benefits plan, do you have this? Can I do these mega backdoor Roths? Again, like I'm saying, is more companies are allowing that. And that's step 5. So you could see how these steps also take on meaning or become stronger for you to move to the next step. Step on the former step up to the next. Because you're following disciplines that all starts from the foundational part of paying yourself first. So now you've done all these things. And again, I have a lot of younger clients that have done all these things, and we've moved on to step 6. They're investing in, okay, let's just do brokerage account. Let's start that. Let's plant that seed or those seeds in the field of retirement income where I've got my Roth, I've got some I've done, or my pre-tax stage. Remember I talked about the tax flow? Or now, Rich, I've done the tax flow. I'm there and I still have a little bit more money. Okay. We're going to go to the plain old vanilla taxable brokerage accounts. I have no contribution limits. I get capital gains treatment. I can invest tax efficiently, right? We always want to look at asset location. I'm investing tax efficiently, whether it's individual stocks or ETFs. And that is forming step 6. And, to me, when you're in step 6, you're super saver. You are absolutely super saver mentality. The challenge you're going to have in step 6 is when you go forward 20 years. Because you've gone through these foundational steps. Your biggest problem, believe it or not, is spending it. I cannot believe how many conversations I have with retirees that I have to tell them to go out there and spend money, which is odd. Usually an advisor is telling you not to do that. But if you're doing everything that I'm saying here, you're going to get to the point where you got to start to pick the fruit off these trees that you're growing. Otherwise, it's going to rot, or someone else is going to take your apples. We don't want that. Well, you can have the apples, but you know what I mean? Okay. So now I go, okay, I need to say I'm still saving more, right? Because I'm past the super saver status. Okay, great. Well, maybe annuities, maybe tax deferred vehicles. Okay. Maybe you want to look at the fact that you could, if you, especially you feel like you want more guaranteed income. And this is, so this is sometimes a little tricky for me because we look at annuities as supplements to pensions, or your pension because you don't have one that sort of connects to augments Social Security, right? So I have Social Security, which has become America's pension, but I don't have a private pension. Most companies don't offer them anymore, defined benefit plans. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, okay, I've got this additional money. Now, some people will say, so for us, an annuity or another tax advantage account may not be the right thing. Maybe we're going to put more in the brokerage account. Maybe we're going to make the step for 6 thicker, higher, and bolster that brokerage component. If we do feel, say, as your advisor feels that, this guy, this couple, they're going to spend some money. Like in the first part of the retirement, these people are going to spend some money. And guess what? Even though they've been super savers, they might run out because they have longevity in their family. They want to do all these extravagant trips up front. Well, guess what? I might need to bolster that with some form of a deferred income annuity that's going to pay out for the rest of our lives. So even super savers might need annuities if they're going to run out of money, because it all depends on your spending rate. Now, again, that doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. The other thing you have to consider, if you're having children and you are making more money and you've gone through these steps, permanent life insurance. And Dave Ramsey's looking at me going, don't you talk about that. It's only term. Yeah, term fits in the early stages of the of the pyramid, of the cycle. Absolutely. Cheapest form of insurance. We're cash strapped. I can take care of my young family with term. Not a problem. Works well. But there's a point where I become a super saver and I've got excess funds. I can look to fund a permanent life insurance policy, but let's consider this. One, there must be a need for life insurance. I want to leave a legacy. I absolutely believe in the insurance. My children are still not out of college or even entering college yet, so they are still financially vulnerable. So yes, I want the life insurance, but I want the ability to overfund that policy, and there are parameters to that. And you would work with your insurance company to figure that out, where I can place as much as possible in there and have the rest spill over to invest within the policy and have that grow by a percentage every year. And that can come not only in handy for the perspective of, hey, I need life insurance. My premium's going to be pretty decent. Let's say if I would need $1 million worth of coverage and I'm 45 years old, my permanent life insurance premium is going to be pretty hefty every month. So what happens with a lot of people is they take on permanent life insurance too early and they forfeit the policy. They can't keep up with the premium. When I've gone through these steps and I'm at a place where I need to save more. I want to save more, and I'm never going to discourage that. Permanent life insurance can work really well for you. Interestingly enough, there is a living benefit to it. When retirement comes, you can go ahead and looking at specific policy loans to fill in your retirement income. Such as it is a loan, technically, which for the most part reduces your death benefit. But if you're taking out a certain percentage and now you're past some of the bigger fee hurdles of permanent life insurance, your balance might be growing a lot more, right? So your policy, it's sort of a weighing game between keeping the policy, make sure this policy stays in and not take out too much out of the cash value of it. But that becomes a really nice supplement to income that is, 1, not taxed, 2, not considered taxation for Social Security, 3, no IRMA danger. So this is, and Mike Davis says, lowest disposable income in 50 years. Yeah, this is one of the lowest years for disposable income. It's not really 50 years. We've seen you're at about 1.37%. The last time you were at this level was probably around 2015, 2016. So people are hurting right now. So they are managing every dollar they have coming in, but you have to make room for savings. And I know it sounds like, oh, well, you don't understand what we're going through, because I don't care what the dollar amount is. I'm trying to get you into the exercise of paying yourself first. I don't care if it's $15 a month. I really don't care. I just want you to start. So when times do get better, that money's gone and you don't feel it, and you can increase it and you won't feel it, right? So it's an exercise more than, oh my gosh, yeah, what's $15 a month going to do? It doesn't matter what it does. It's like when you go start to work out and you're only lifting 10 pounds and like, well, what is this going to do? It's not going to do anything. It's just preparing you for 20 pounds, 25, and 30. And Lance, probably 100 pounds per dumbbell. Look at me. I'm working out. So remember that this hierarchy is, it's structural, obviously. There's an art to it with each person you work with. So if you need help with any of this, you got to keep in mind, we're always here to help we talk to so many people every day just to give them some simple guidance. This is one of the simplest things that you can help. If you have a grandchild or a young adult just starting out, tell them to listen. Just say, hey, listen to this podcast. You want to get an idea of how to build the savings muscle? This is how you do it. And that's the smart hierarchy of saving strategies. So again, even people, again, I think you have to go back to this hierarchy over time. And what I mean by that is sometimes we lose sight because our savings sometimes are so much on autopilot. We're not maximizing each vehicle or each step properly. We're great savers, but it's more of a shotgun approach. So sometimes, even if you're a great saver and you're 10, 15, 20 years within the hierarchy, you got to go back and review it and say, is this right for me? Is this mix right for me? It's like people that have fallen into I'm going to put my money in pre-tax because I hate paying tax. And now I'm 50 years old and all my money is in 401ks. That means when I retire and I need income, I have lost tax control. And when my required minimum distributions kick, I have lost tax control. So remember, and I appreciate you being here with us today, the hierarchy is important. The structure, the skeletal structure of this is really important. And to look back at it with a very trusted advisor. That is very, very important, who has your interest in mind. And we appreciate you in the chat and whoever's listening to our podcast that you tuned in today. And hope you have a great, wonderful rest of your week. Any questions, reach out. Real Investment Advice. Sign up for Lance's newsletter. Great article by Mike Leibowitz about tips and traditional bonds, nominal bonds. Amazing education there. We appreciate you being here with us. Take care.